Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckaway Pines. Today I am in the little culinary garden area and I'm actually going to be harvesting a couple herbs because, sorry, it's really bright. I'm going to be harvesting a couple herbs to make a little seasoning mix in the kitchen here, and I thought it'd be a fun kind of different way to preserve some of my herbs that I have because I have so many and I'd hate just to dehydrate them all, so if I can kind of use them in other different things, I'm definitely going to try it. So okay, so today first thing is rosemary. I have a nice little pot of rosemary right here, and I'll show you guys here in a second, but planning on harvesting a bunch of sprigs of that. And here, I'll actually show you guys now. Adjust the camera. Hopefully you can see that. Nice little pot, and it's growing nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and pick some of that right off the bat. But I did want to explain a little bit more about rosemary in a second here. So let me set this up so you guys can see how I harvest it. Okay, so here's my rosemary plant, and again, like I said, I'm just going to be harvesting a couple little sprigs off of it. I'm not going to be taking too much from it because I still want it to produce, and that way I can harvest more throughout the season. But typically this is native in the Mediterranean. It likes that really warm weather. But surprisingly though, thyme is a very, very hardy plant. It can handle some frosty weather, and also it can survive in drought-like conditions. It can go a little while without water. And also, as you can see, it's kind of has like almost like an evergreen pine needle kind of leaf. And this is actually the spice or the herb that you use typically in the kitchen when you cook with it. But also, not only in the kitchen it's beneficial, but I guess medicinally it has a couple neat little benefits. I know it's an anti-inflammatory, and it helps with the blood circulation as well, which I thought was really neat. And also, if you have the essential oil from this plant, it can help stimulate and promote hair growth. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. So maybe in the future I could harness some of those oils. But yeah, and this is considered actually a shrub. Like if you were to let it kind of grow maybe on the ground, kind of off to the corner, I'm sure it'll really bush out nicely. So yeah, again, I'm going to harvest a little bit of this right away. And all you really do, it's super easy. I just snip right at the base of the branch off the main stem. So right where it splits off. So that's all I'm going to take for my rosemary right now, and then I'm going to move over to another herb that I think will pair nicely with this, and I'll show you here in a second. So the next herb I'm going to be harvesting is from my green stalk here, and it's going to be sage. What I intend on doing with the rosemary and the sage is making a rosemary sage salt. It'll preserve it nicely, but also it'll be functional, so I can use it to, season certain dishes in the kitchen, which I thought will be kind of fun to work with and kind of expand on what I cook in the kitchen normally. So you know how you get stuck in those routine, like the same thing every night and all that, so kind of spice up the menu a little bit. But sage is also from the Mediterranean, typically, like rosemary is, but obviously for culinary reasons, it has been cultivated and kind of naturalized all over the world. Um, but also, what I don't think a lot of people realize that with sage, it's not doesn't only have its culinary benefits, but it also has some medicinal benefits. Um, it can help promote good oral health. It's also known to help lower blood pressure and also lower your cholesterol as well. And, and on top of all that, it can help with your brain function as well. So kind of helps with the memory a little bit and whatnot. But so yeah, I'm just harvesting a couple good sized leaves here that I can use, and just about there. You can see my cilantro is really taken over here. Might have to plant its own pot for next year if I plan on growing it again. Okay, I think I have a good amount here, and I'm going to go ahead and take the rosemary and the sage, and we're going to go make our salt. Okay, so down in the preservation station, I have both my sage and my rosemary here in this bowl. And then I went ahead and brought down my food processor because we're going to need that to kind of, process all these up, chop them up real finely, and we're going to mix it, obviously, in some salt. So I got a bunch of salt to make our sage rosemary salt. Start over. Okay, so we're in the preservation station, and now it is time to make our rosemary sage salt. So you're obviously going to need a bunch of salt for this, and not this much, but a good amount of salt, and your sage and rosemary, of course. And you will need a food processor. You might be able to get away with it by using a blender, possibly. I've never done it with a blender, so it might work. Let me know if you do try it that way. I don't know if there's any other blending type devices that might work in place of this, but today I'm using a food processor. So anyway, I really don't have any specific measurements to give you, to be honest with you. I'm sure if you look up online, there's other recipes and stuff to measure it out if you're that kind of person. With stuff like this, I typically like to just eyeball it. I don't know. I think it's more fun that way. But really, yeah, it's just as long as you get a good, even, amount of your spices, and then, probably double the amount of salt. That way it's not super overpowering, but you still have that flavor within. So, anyway, I am going to load up my food processor. What I'm going to start off with, like I said, I just kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to start off with my herbs. I'm going to throw in my sage leaves just as they are. I don't have to like strip them or anything or cut them up. I'm just going to plop them in. Just want to see how much I actually have, especially if I want to match it with my rosemary here, which I have a good amount. So I think we'll just put all of that in there. Maybe leave that little bit out just in case. I don't know if it'll be too much. Because with the rosemary, you want to strip it off its stem. It kind of has a really like hardy stem, almost like a little branch, if you will. You want to get all those little green leaves off. Kind of like pine needles. So just get those off the best you can. And it's really easy if you kind of go against it. They'll all be kind of facing one way. And if you go against it, so I know it's kind of wilty looking, but it's all going down this way. So I'm just going to pinch it that way. It should all kind of slide right off. And then the tips of them kind of rip off easy. So I think I'm going to use up all this rosemary, and that'll help me gauge how much sage I need to use right off the bat. So, but again, this is a really nice like seasoning to have for like meats, especially like if you know you guys cook a lot of steaks and stuff like that, roasts. Really, really good. Even for chicken dishes, you know, if you roast your own chickens at home, or you know, maybe even season some chicken soup or something like that. Rosemary pairs nicely with chicken. And I've never tried it on fish, so if anybody does try that on fish or has tried it on fish, let me know, because that'd be really interesting. I mean, I'm sure I'll try it, but I like to see what other people think of it and their take on it. And again, you can use this because I made a butter video of chive butter, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But kind of with that, the butter video, because making herb butter is very versatile and very flexible, so you can kind of use any kind of herb with it, what have you. And that's kind of the same with these salt blends. You can really use any sort of herb blend in with your salts, and that's your natural salt, so seasoning salt. So it's really fun, really easy, and you can kind of do anything with it. So, and you can also, before I forget, you can also do the same with sugar with certain items like mint. I actually do in 10 because I have so many different varieties of mint. I've been trying to find different ways to utilize them and preserve them and whatnot. I actually have some extracts going behind me, but I want to try and do a mint sugar. So essentially the same exact process we're doing here, but instead of salt, you use sugar. So simple enough. And for the sage, I think I'll just use all of it. You know, just throw it all in there. And then for the salt, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a cup's worth, but we'll see. I'm going to do a quarter cup at a time just to be sure. Probably a cup's worth. That way it's, you know, all even and proportionate as far as the seasonings go. Maybe one more, cup and a quarter. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, I just eyeball things primarily, except for if I'm baking or something like that, then, you know, it's more precision. So yeah, all right, next step is to just blend it all up until all your herbs are, you know, little grains, if you will, and it's all, you know, mixed thoroughly. So it's gonna get loud. It smells so amazing. So super easy, super fun to do. The last step, which I'm not going to really show you guys, it's super self-explanatory. You want to just spread this stuff out on a like cookie sheet, parchment paper on it, then put this on, and then bake it at the lowest temperature that your oven could possibly go. It kind of dries it out a little bit because granted, these are fresh leaves, fresh herbs, so there is going to be some moisture in there, and your salt will absorb some of that, but it will cause like clumping and, you know, like that like hardening factor when you have it in your jar on the shelf. So I recommend that you do dry out your salt mixture for a little bit, at least an hour or so on the lowest setting of your oven. That way, again, no clumping, no hardening, and no risk of anything going rancid, because when there's moisture in places like that, it could cause like molding and things to go bad. So just put that out there. But again, super duper easy. You can do this with any sort of herb blend, any sort of mixture of herbs that you think would taste really good.
You can use as much as you see fit. I didn't really use any measurements of anything whatsoever. I just kind of eyeballed everything to when it looked good. And to me, it looks really good. I think all the herbs are blended in nicely. It's, you have the majority of salt, but you can see the herbs in there. So that really helps. And again, it smells so delicious. So yeah, you can do this with anything, and you can even go as far as using sugar instead of salt with certain herbs too, as long as it works together. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys kind of get a little creative in the garden with some of the herbs that you're growing and whatnot. I know I'm trying to be. This again is our first year here. This is the initial year of the garden. It's definitely been a big adventure to say the least, and please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned, because coming out at the end of this month I'm going to be doing a more in-depth garden update video and just kind of talk to you guys a little bit more about what we've kind of learned and where we're standing right now and kind of our plans for the future coming up, so as far as gardening goes. Because that's just what we've been doing here, garden, and it's a lot to keep up with, but it's fun and I'm not slowing down now. So again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and again, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any other fun homesteading projects that we do here. All right, you guys, bye.